freedom of these girls has renewed our hope and strengthened our faith in the commitment and capacity of the Buhari administration.
Keep hope alive. That's the message to parents whose daughters are still in captivity.
I'm going on vacation. This is the constitutional process. BP should take over, and while I'm away, and that's excellent. This is exactly what he has done.
No vacuum in government. President Buhari transmits power to Vice President as he travels out for medical evaluation. Reforms in the judiciary. Law courts to prioritize upgrading of libraries. A warm welcome to NTA Network News. I am Ayinde Shuaga and glad to be with you. Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima has urged parents of Chibok school girls whose daughters are still in captivity to keep hope alive as government is working towards their release. It was in reaction to the news of the release of 82 more girls at the government house, Maiduguri. Mohammed Ibrahim reports.
Governor Kashim Shettima, while briefing the press at the government house Maiduguri, said President Buhari has Nigeria at heart and works round the clock to address national problems as seen in successful freedom of the Chibok girls.
The freedom of these girls has renewed our hope and strengthened our faith in the commitment and capacity of the Buhari administration to continuously work towards the freedom of our remaining daughters that are still in captivity. With very strong empathy, I urge parents whose daughters are not part of those free suffer to keep their hopes alive and remain strong and prayerful.
The governor noted with gratitude that it is an extraordinary record of achievement for the present administration alongside international and local humanitarian partners who were able to negotiate the release of the girls at a time when the battle against the insurgents is at its peak. Borno State government, he went on, will always be committed in every way necessary to partner the federal government in full rehabilitation and education of the freed girls, which has renewed hope and strength towards freedom of the remaining girls in captivity. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Ibrahim, NTA News.
The Sheriff leadership of the People's Democratic Party has commended the Buhari administration and all those involved in the release of the 82 abducted Chibok girls. This was during a media briefing in Abuja. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Kudu reports.
Addressing journalists, the PDP Deputy National Chairman, Dr. Kairo Ojubo, said there is cause for all Nigerians to celebrate the release of the girls. While pledging continued partnership and advice to end the insurgency, the Sharif leadership of the party described as wise the decision of the federal government to negotiate with the Boko Haram insurgents in order to release the Chibok girls.
In this country today, there is cause for happiness and for jubilation over the release of the 82 Chibok girls. The PDP welcomes it. The PDP congratulates Mr. President, the armed forces who have worked assiduously for the success of the release of the Chibok girls.
The PDP called on all Nigerians to continue to support the Buhari administration in efforts to curb the insurgency in the country. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Kudu, NTA News.
In the meantime, the federal government has described as indecent, inhuman, and ill-timed the statement credited to a faction of the PDP criticizing the process that led to the release of the 82 Chibok girls over the weekend. In a statement, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said it is insensitive for any individual or organization on account of politics to dampen the universal joy that has greeted the release of the 82 girls, the highest number so far freed since their unfortunate abduction under the watch of the PDP over 3 years ago.
with the safe return of the abducted girls. The minister noted that President Buhari, in his inaugural address, said his administration cannot claim to have defeated Boko Haram without rescuing the Chibok girls, and that the government will do all it can to rescue them alive. Therefore, if that includes swapping some Boko Haram elements for the girls, so be it. He cited similar situations where the United States engaged in negotiation with the Taliban to the exchange of 5 Taliban fighters for a U.S. Army sergeant in 2014, and Israel's release of 1,027 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for 1 Israeli soldier in 2011. Lai Mohammed maintained that a lot of factors come into play when a nation has to decide whether or not to engage in a prisoner-hostage swap. None, however, supersedes the sanctity attached to human life and the consideration for the pains of the loved ones of those involved. He said it is clear that the kind of disdain for human life which the PDP exhibited in its incautious statement is the same reason the girls were kidnapped in the first instance, and for which the then PDP-controlled federal government took what seems an eternity before even acknowledging the abduction, thereby losing critical time for the rescue. The minister said, quote, "Since the PDP failed, as it did in everything to rescue even one of the Chibok girls, the party should hold its peace while this administration continues to seek the release of all the abducted girls, using every means at its disposal, in addition to working assiduously to end all Boko Haram hostilities." End of quote.
Nigerians have been admonished not to politicize the release of the 82 schoolgirls, but concentrate on how best to debrief and reintegrate them into society. While describing apprehension about their release as unfounded, security experts on Good Morning Nigeria program are of the view that the swapping of 82 girls for 2 members of Boko Haram is not capable of changing the rule of engagement. Lydia Sampson reports.
Questions from the right people. The experts say if properly harnessed, the released Chibok schoolgirls can be used as ambassadors of peace and girl-child education. They commend government for negotiating the release and decried the mudslinging in some quarters, advising that information gathered from the girls should be used to build the missing link for the release of the remaining Chibok girls.
The chances are we're going to get more out, so people have to be guarded in their comments. People should not deliberately go out like a particular governor came out to say you don't find what is not lost.
The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, said government will not relent until the remaining Chibok girls are released.
Information about this 83 came from the 21 that were first set free. Okay. And that was why immediately after they said yes, there are 83 others somewhere. And the government took it very seriously, and through interlocutors, established contact with the group holding this, and they said yes, we have 83. So that's how the negotiation. Military exercises are ongoing. Nobody has put a stop to that.
The mop-up, the guest said, will not jeopardize the operation, as Boko Haram, which has been disseminated, is more open to negotiations and is likely to use the remaining girls as trump cards. Guests acknowledged the role played by international and local stakeholders in the negotiation that led to success of the release of the Chibok girls. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has described the release of 82 Chibok girls after nearly 3 years in Boko Haram captivity as a pleasant second anniversary gift to the people of Nigeria. The president, who formally received the girls at his residence, reassured the nation that no efforts will be spared in ensuring that all other Nigerians who have been abducted safely regain their freedom. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
It It was an emotional sight to behold as the 82 Chibok girls rescued from Boko Haram after painstaking negotiations arrived at the official residence of President Muhammadu Buhari. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishakin, who formally presented the girls, attributed the major breakthrough to the unprecedented support, direction and guidance to the nation's military by the Nigerian leader.
Your Excellency, before you now, I present the 82 Chibok girls to you, Your Excellency.
The highly elated President Buhari was full of appreciation to the security agencies and all those who contributed in securing the release of the girls.
This is a very significant day for me and for the country, and more especially to your parents for surviving the torture, as it were, waiting for you day in and day out for the years that have passed.
The federal government, he promised, will take adequate care of their health, education, security, and general well-being.
The federal government will perform on its promises to look after you, to continue your education.
The president was emphatic that no human being should go through this kind of ordeal and therefore reaffirmed the commitment of his administration towards safeguarding the security.
I'm pleased to have personally met you, and I congratulate more especially your parents. It's only they that have the real feeling of what you went through.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, told NTA News that the Boko Haram chapter will not be declared closed until all those in its custody regain their freedom.
For these 82 girls, we reached agreement to free some of their own captives, but the agreement goes far beyond this. What we are doing also includes negotiation to ensure that this suicide bombing also stops. So it's part of the agreement. We are looking at a comprehensive peace agreement. And don't forget that these people are largely Nigerians too, and we must learn to work together and learn to live in peace.
Over 100 Chibok girls have now regained their freedom since the renewed onslaught against Boko Haram by the Buhari administration. In the meantime, the president has granted audience to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, presiding officers of the National Assembly, and the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Governor Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar of Zamfara State, on a farewell visit as he departs for medical follow-up in the United Kingdom. From the State House, Adam Musambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nigerians have been assured that there is no cause for alarm regarding President Muhammadu Buhari's health and his follow-up visit to the United Kingdom. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media, Garba Shehu, who gave the assurance on NTA Good Morning Nigeria, says there is no vacuum as President Muhammadu Buhari has handed over to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo to act until his return.
Muhammadu Buhari, we have the best constitutional processes in terms of their practice being put on display. The president, in the first instance, didn't need to be pressured by anyone or placard carrying demonstrators or so-called do-gooders. Pressure him to say, he said, no, I'm not, I'm going on vacation. This is the constitutional process. The VP should take over and while I'm away. And that's excellent. This is exactly what he has done. There is absolutely no vacancy. Even when he was here, he had acted in full capacity as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and now that he had transmitted power to the Vice President, who is equally capable, equally competent, and he's proven his own mettle, it would be well with the country.
He urged Nigerians to be calm, as it simply is a follow-up that has been pending. The Italian parliament has commended President Muhammadu Buhari over the release of 82 more kidnapped Chibok girls last week. The president of the Italian Chamber of Deputies, Laura Boldrini, conveyed the commendation of the Italian legislature when she visited Speaker House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The 15-man delegation from the Italian parliament, who were on a 3-day working visit to Nigeria, met with the leadership of the House of Representatives. At the meeting, the two parliaments stressed the need to intensify global fight against terrorism, human trafficking, and unemployment.
That Italy stands at Nigeria's side in its anti-terrorism effort. We do appreciate the effort you are doing, and we really believe that since terrorism is a threat for the entire world, we have to join forces in this regard.
The investing public and the firms in Italy take advantage of the increasing opportunity that our transparency and the fight against corruption is offering.
And from the National Assembly, the Speaker led them to the internally displaced persons camp in New Kuchingoro, Abuja, where the President of the Italian Chamber of Deputies, Laura Boldrini, promised to provide water facilities to the camp.
I would like you to know that we are available to take care of the expenses of a new pump. So you can at least get that water which is so needed and so important for you.
There are about 400 plus children altogether. They are our tomorrow's leaders.
And I want the President of the Chambers of Deputies to note that what she's seeing here today highlights the problem, that this is one of the smallest IDP camps that we have in the nation.
Speaker Yakubu Dogara also called on international organizations that made promises to assist internally displaced persons in Nigeria to redeem their pledges. The delegation were conducted around the camp, housing 1,540 internally displaced persons. From New Kuchingoro, Abuja, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says a robust partnership between government and the private sector remains the elixir for solving the ineffectiveness in governance. The acting president, who stated this at the 3rd Presidential Quarterly Forum in Abuja, says government would further demonstrate its commitment by making itself accessible for the exchange of ideas. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has details.
Presentations at this 3rd Presidential Quarterly Business Forum focused on the creative sector and the digital economy. Of need is the critical diagnosis of the challenges in the development of the Nigerian economy, especially in these two sectors. As unanimously observed by the acting president and some of the participants, the challenge remains in the effective implementation of ideas outlined as solutions in the economic recovery and growth plan. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says the partnership between the policymakers and the players is the best solution.
Now, there is expertise within the private sector. Policymakers are here, and policymakers are supposed to be able to understand what exactly it is that we need to do to make that critical change. And I think that one of the critical things for us is how to ensure that we are getting all of what we need from the private sector players, especially those who have been very successful in developing policy and in implementing policy.
Explaining the reason the digital economy is crucial to the attainment of this, Acting President Osinbajo says the digital technology creates platform for prompt results. An example of this, he says, is in achieving the registration of business with the Corporate Affairs Commission within 48 hours and development in other sectors.
The only way to make government work is if the private sector invests in government. And by invest, I don't mean putting your money into government, but more investing in terms of your time, attention, and these kinds of partnerships that we're trying to build here.
For the creative industry, it is good news as Minister of Information and Culture reels out the various plans that would further accelerate the growth of the sector.
And our new architecture is that a film is released, should first go to cinema houses, then digital video on demand, then pay TV, and finally the digital terrestrial television. We are looking to expand the number of cinemas
we have from the mere 30 or so to at least 100 multiplexes within the next few years.
Further interactions elicited more information from the Ministers of Budget and National Planning, Communications, and Industry, Trade and Investment.
We want to ensure that the growth is inclusive.
In 2020, this country will be one of the 20 largest economies in the world, which will enable us to realize our full economic and social potentials.
We must not deny our people the opportunity to compete in this global era we've entered.
The acting president has promised that government will be open to all comers and be as close as possible to all those who are willing to support government in achieving these objectives. From the banquet hall of the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS, or log on to www.nta.ng. Still to come, courts to upgrade law libraries in keeping with reforms in the judiciary. Stay with us.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Hello, I just got back from the States and I need a SIM so I can have a number.
Bonus you need.
What's nyafu?
If you join MTN, you go enjoy bonus bracket.
What's bracket?
See, any bonus we then give you, you go fit to do anything where you like with them. Chatting, browsing, texting, calling, to any network for Nigeria, and no condition at all. Completely freedom. Everything in Baku.
What's Baku?
If you buy the charge card 100 naira, they go give you 600 naira. If you call the charge 200 naira, as a big baby that you is now, they will give you 1,200 naira.
Hey, brother, show me the way now.
Get an MTN SIM, register it, and get 6 times of all your recharges every time you recharge, and much more.
MTN, everywhere you go.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
This is to inform the public that the National Teachers Institute, NTI, having complied with the stipulated guidelines for affiliation by the National Universities Commission, NUC, has been affiliated with the National Open University of Nigeria, NOUN, for the award of Bachelor of Science, BSc ED, and Bachelor of Arts, BAED, in Education. For all enquiries, please contact the National Universities Commission. Ibrahim Usman Yakasai, Director Information and Public Relations. Announcer.
The new Cowbell Choco formula has been stolen. Get it back at all costs.
Great tasting new Cowbell Choco gives you the get up and go to be at the top of your game. Now with Vitality Plus Iron. New great tasting Cowbell Choco, a creamy chocolatey drink that helps give energy to get up and go.
The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim K. Idris, NPM, MNI, in conjunction with National Council of Traditional Rulers and Leadership Newspapers Group, invites all relevant stakeholders to the National Security Summit on Farmers Pastoralist Clashes, Kidnapping, and other forms of violent crimes in Nigeria. Theme: Forging partnerships for effective strategies to curb the menace of kidnapping, recurring farmers pastoralist clashes, and criminality in Nigeria. Date: 11th and 12th May 2017. Time: 10 a.m. daily. Venue: International Conference Center, Abuja. Special guest of honor: President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Guest of honor: Lieutenant General Abdurrahman B. Dambazao, retired, Minister of Interior. Special guests: the 36 state governors, FCT Minister, members National Assembly, and diplomatic community. Royal Father of the Day: His Eminence Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, Sultan of Sokoto, and Chairman, National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria. Also to attend, honorable ministers, all service chiefs, government functionaries, Council of Traditional Rulers, amongst others. DIGHM Dagala, Chairman Planning Committee, announcer.
From the south-south to the northeast, southeast to the northwest, southwest to the north-central, the Future Assured project and its components, Get Involved, is restoring hope to millions of Nigerian women and children.
We are actually doing a lot under Future Assured, the program of Her Excellency Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari. And I believe what we are doing so far is impacting positively on the lives of women and children in Nigeria, particularly those in the internally displaced camps across the nation.
Get Involved supports the Future Assured initiative. Email programs@futureassured.org.ng. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Over 600 internally displaced persons trained under the Durable Solution Program for IDPs in the northeast of the federal government empowered and skills acquisition program have been presented with starter kits to enable them become self-reliant. Yumgoso Buka reports that the training was coordinated by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and IDPs.
The training, coordinated by National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and IDPs, is an initiative of the federal government to empower IDPs whom have lost everything due to activities of Boko Haram in their various communities. Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Sadia Umar Farouk said it took a long period for federal government to plan and implement the program, hence the need to make proper use of the starter kits to be self-reliant.
We are looking at this just as a pilot program. We are further expanding and reach out to other IDPs that are out there.
Participants were presented with starter kits, certificates and transportation money, where they expressed gratitude to the federal government for the opportunity given them and assured to put into practice the knowledge gained. The over 6,000 IDPs were trained on carpentry, food and groundnut oil processing, as well as soap and cap making. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
As part of intended reforms in the nation's judiciary, all courts in Nigeria have been told to place priority on the upgrading of law libraries to make them an essential tool for justice administration. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onagen, made the call while declaring open the biennial workshop for judiciary librarians holding at the National Judicial Institute, Abuja. Femi Okewo reports.
The judicial librarian has been described as the intellectual gatekeeper of the learned profession and the custodian of the raw materials for the dispensation of justice. That is why a special workshop is being held for this category of judicial workers. For the judiciary and the legal profession generally, the law library is not a luxury. No judgment is complete without the judge's liaison with the law library, even if he has his own personal library. It is in view of this crucial role that the librarian plays in the justice dispensation that the Chief Justice of Nigeria asked that greater priority be paid to this department.
Over the years, the enormity of delays experienced in dispensation of justice has been a source of concern to all stakeholders. As such, standardization of library services will engender speedy dispensation of justice.
The theme for this year's workshop is repositioning judicial libraries to meet the challenges of administration of justice.
The law library is the bedrock of the judiciary. It is a very essential tool in the administration of justice. It has been described as the laboratory for the legal profession.
Attendants at the workshop are from the federal and state courts from across the country. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
Nigeria and the Islamic Development Bank have entered into an agreement for the commercialization of research results from the various institutes of Nigeria in Nigeria. Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, just back from a tour of 3 nations, told journalists in Abuja that his meeting with the bank officials in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on the issue is one of efforts aimed at sourcing investors from other OIC nations that could be interested in the nation's huge research findings. Science correspondent Kirian Umayo reports.
Dr. Ogbonnaya, who was in Saudi Arabia on the invitation of President of Islamic Development Bank, is optimistic that Nigeria stands to gain from establishing a business relationship with the bank as one of the major moves by the current administration to give adequate attention to the commercialization of research results in Nigeria.
We are convinced in the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology that the best solution is to find a way to produce many of the things that we import locally here in the country. And that's why this commercialization is very important. Also, it will help us to make available job opportunities for our people.
The minister also visited Portugal, where a meeting held on the need for nations on the coast of Atlantic Ocean to work out a mechanism for collaboration that will ensure adequate and beneficial utilization of the ocean. At the Nigeria House in New York, Dr. Ogbonnaya, in a town hall meeting with Nigerians in the U.S., encouraged them to show sufficient interest in science and technology development in Nigeria. He explained that Nigerians have the capability to increase the nation's GDP through science, technology, and innovation. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
Over now to NTA Lagos Network Center for more reports. Demola is our guide. Over to you now.
Good evening and warm welcome to Lagos. The former gubernatorial candidate in Anambra State, an oil magnate, Ifeanyi Ubah, was last Friday arrested by the Department of State Security Services over alleged theft of petroleum products stored in his tank farm by the NNPC. The value of the products taken without approval by the NNPC is put at over 11 billion naira. When NTA News visited the tank farms in Lagos, the crew was attacked by hoodlums around the farm. Vera Chumba reports.
Trouble began on the 17th of March when the NNPC revealed that about 100 million liters of premium motor spirit stored at the Capital Oil and Gas Depot and over 30 million liters at MRS Limited Depot, all in Apapa area of Lagos, were not found and could not be accessed. NNPC had viewed the action of both companies as infractions and a clear violation of existing contract, which prohibited firms from tampering with volumes in their custody without express permission of the corporation. The companies were called to explain why and given the 2 options to either return the full volume of what was stored in their depots liter to liter or pay the full volume of products taken without approval. While MRS paid the 30 million liters that vanished from its depot, Ifeanyi Ubah did not. He was alleged to have described the theft against his company as mischievous and misleading. NNPC, in its desperation to recover what was stolen from the corporation, alerted the Directorate of State Security Services, the EFCC, and relevant committees of the National Assembly with oversight functions on the downstream operation. Ifeanyi Ubah, whose arrest was disclosed in a statement by the DSS and signed by Tony Ukwiyi last Friday after many weeks of investigation, said Ubah's actions amounted to economic sabotage, with capacity to impact negatively on the nation's economy. They include stealing, diversion, and illegal sale of petroleum products valued at 11 billion naira. The DSS also alleged that Oba engaged in other activities inimical to national security and public order. Among them are the alleged inciting of members of Petroleum Tanker Drivers Association, a critical player in the downstream subsector, to refuse and stop lifting petroleum products. The DSS has assured Nigerians that the service will collaborate with agencies to check mischievous activities of groups and individuals and will bring them to book. The DSS will prosecute Ifeanyi. In Lagos, Viera Chumuba, NTA News.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says getting the children involved in the fight against corruption by tapping into their creative abilities will help build a bright future for the children. This was demonstrated at the Literary Arts and Paintings Initiative, where children were encouraged to express their condemnation of corruption in literary terms in Lagos. Abolore Ogbara has the details.
50 students selected from different schools in Lagos, both public and private, were given the opportunity to showcase their talent in paintings, literary arts, and mixed media competitions. The acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, said the paintings illustrated the different faces of corruption and the new Nigeria.
We want everybody to unite, to join us in the fight against corruption.
Other prominent Nigerians emphasized that with these efforts, support at grooming the Nigerian child in positive attitudes, the country will be a better nation for all.
This is our own way of preaching. It's all part of preaching, but we also like to catch them young. Just catch them young, and also want to make adults feel ashamed of themselves when they see what is produced by these children.
What we are doing is to bring the best out of them, groom great entrepreneurs and leaders that will go through the VOTC in form of an academy to lead change in various sectors of Nigerian economy.
Some participants expressed their views on the project.
We have a chance for our voices to be heard, to let the government know that we children have a solution to all the problems that are happening right now in Nigeria.
If you want to make your country better and where you stay better, be a patriotic Nigeria.
The theme is Enhance the Heritage, Advance the Future. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
One of the pioneering brands in the carbonated soft drink sector in the Nigerian market, Lacasera, has relaunched the Lacasera apple drinks, currently being consumed by teeming Nigerians. Thekla Wilke reports that the event, which held in Lagos, also served as a forum for management of Lacasera brand to reward and appreciate its business partners and stakeholders of the company.
It was a full house at the Oriental Hotel where the Lacasera company formally unveiled the all-new Lacasera apple drink.
We are embarking on a new journey, on the journey with a fresh, new product which has more juice content, which has a new packaging, a new label, and a fresh, new look.
Management of the Lacasera company say the relaunch was inspired by insights from its teeming consumers.
Yeah, there are lots of apple drinks out there, but there is none that has the original, real apple juice.
The all-new look Lacasera apple drink, which still comes in 50cl bottle, management of Lacasera say is an improvement from the original apple flavor concept.
We are seeking to always improve the quality of our product to make us what we are, a local company with international relevance. We're competing with the best practice in the world and want to bring that to Nigerians and our teaming consumers.
The reloaded Lacasera drink did not only get a nod from the public, but also got approval from the regulatory bodies overseeing the food and beverage sector in Nigeria.
Once a manufacturer's claim tallies with a laboratory report, that's a plus for the manufacturer, and it means that the quality claim is attested by our own laboratory.
For standards organization to be here is just an assurance to tell Nigerians that the product, even looking at the label, that SON has certified the product.
Since its gallant entry into the Nigerian market 16 years ago, The Lakasera Group says commitment to consumer satisfaction is what has kept the brand on top. The promise to ride on the back of originality, affordability and stewardship to its consumers. In Lagos, Thekla Wilkie, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Network News. We now take a break for some messages, after which the news continues from Abuja. Stay with us.
Everyday air. Ordinary air. And then there's TomTom air. There's air, and then there's TomTom air. What are you breathing? New TomTom 5-piece pack.
Coca-Cola?
Oh, it's happy hour. So, you want a free Coca-Cola, but you have to drink it here.
What makes a Naija mom powerful?
I encourage my kids to learn new things, and if they get hurt, I rely on the power of my Dettol's One Capful to fight germs.
My family needs protection from germs. I use the power of Dettol's One Capful to disinfect surfaces and clothes.
I trust the power of Dettol's One Capful for bathing. The power of Dettol's One Capful protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Be a powerful Naija mom with Dettol.
Cadbury Bournvita now comes in an attractive new 500-gram refill pack. Simply open and reseal after use to retain the chocolatey and creamy taste. Cadbury Bournvita. Prepare to win.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament.
So many things have been wrong in sports. We've been talking around it.
We need performance expertise, and you can only get some of this where you have world-class facilities.
How can sports deliver return of investment to attract the kind of money required to take it to the next level?
We cannot interfere in the internal affairs of even the federations that belongs to us.
Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA, Thursdays at 11 p.m. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
The eyes have it. Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
All is set for the launch of the Sub-Saharan Africa Outlook in Abuja by the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Minister of Finance and Governor of the Central Bank are expected to be part of it. Business News is next with Leah Katum Babatunde.
Hello and welcome to Business News at 9. The federal government on Monday offered for subscription 2-year savings bond at 13.18% and 3-year savings bond at 14.18%, according to the offer circular derived from the Debt Management Office DMO website. The 2-year bond will be due in May 2019, while the 3-year bond will be due in May 2020. The website said that the bond was fully backed by the full faith and credit of the federal government, with quarterly coupon payments to bondholders. The savings bond issuance is expected to help finance the nation's budget deficit. The latest data released by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, the industry regulators, show that internet subscriptions stood at 90 million in March, representing a year-on-year contraction of 2.5%. The figure implies density of 48.6% in a population estimated at 185 million, placing Nigeria well above the African average of around 16% as estimated by McKinsey. Broadband penetration is currently at 21%. According to the regulator, at least 80,000 telecommunications base stations are required to effectively deploy 4G as well as 5G networks across the country. And also, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, will tomorrow, Tuesday, the 9th of May, launch the April 2017 Regional Economic Outlook Report titled Sub-Saharan Africa, Restarting the Growth Engine. The report will be launched by Mr. Bebe Emro Salasi, Director, African Department of the IMF. Now, a quick look at closing figures from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. That wraps it from this end. The bulletin will continue shortly. Thank you for watching.
Kaduna Network Center is next as we join Abdullahi for more reports. Good to see you, Abdullahi.
See you too, Ainde, and thanks for joining us here in Kaduna. Kaduna State Police Command has brought under control the clashes between rival gangs that nearly degenerated to total breakdown of law and order around Kabala West in Kaduna. Mohammed Lord Baba reports.
Sources close to the area where the clashes erupted confirmed that it all started as a result of skirmishes between some rival gangs, which resulted in some killings within the last 3 days. A development that gave rise to tension among the settlers who are of diverse ethnic and religious background. The development led to widespread rumor, resulting to apprehension among the settlers, forcing some people to go indoors, with some streets around the area being deserted. Ajiole Abe is the police commissioner, Kaduna State Command.
We were able to intervene and the situation was brought under control and normalcy returned to the area.
He speaks on arrests made in connection with the incident.
I see more of a group of misguided young men and who are into all forms of drug addiction.
Some of the residents in the area comment.
The security men that came, they've calmed the situation, so now people are going about their activities.
Now the situation is okay. Yeah, I'm happy now. The situation is calm. That is why you see me working.
A visit to the area suggests that normalcy is gradually returning, with heavily armed security personnel seen manning the streets, while some residents were seen going about their businesses. The State Police Command, while assuring the people of adequate safety, called on people in the metropolis to disregard the rumors going around of any threat to peace as security operatives were on top of the situation. In Kaduna, Muhammad Lawal Baba, NTA News.
Meanwhile, as normalcy returns in the area engulfed by the crisis this morning, Kaduna State government has taken proactive measures by reaching out to community leaders in the area to find out the real cause of the problem.
The delegation comprising the Permanent Secretary, Security and Cabinet Affairs, Abdullahi Ibrahim Sani, head of security agencies, and other top government functionaries visited the affected area immediately the news broke out to hear from the religious and community leaders on what caused the clashes.
Some of them, they are robberies. They are robbers, seriously. After they have robbed everywhere and go and finish what they are doing, they will come back to Kabbalah West and sit down. Because they have where to stay there, nobody will challenge them.
Our concern is insecurity in Kabbalah West.
The Permanent Secretary, while commenting, described it as a setback, especially when effort was being made by the state to raise its head above past ugly incidences that have caused enormous losses of lives and property, assuring that the perpetrators will surely be brought to justice. The governor's representative warned those spreading mischievous rumors capable of disrupting the existing peace to be seized from source. Some of the suspects arrested were paraded before the government delegation amid tight security by the military, police, and civil defense operatives. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajiji, NTA News.
And that report ends the news. From here in Kaduna, it's back to Abuja, where Ainde is standing by to continue network news. Ainde, over to you.
Thank you very much, Abdullahi. Just ahead, a bit on sports and the global scene. Stay with us.
On the quest for boosting the economy is the ease of doing business in Nigeria, the presidential initiative. This is the focus on Tuesday Live edition of This Week. Tuesday Live, incisive, educative, and informative. Don't miss it.
Helen! Your kitchen gets 10 out of 10. Thank you. This also gets a 10. Should we see the toilet now? Sure. This gets just 1. It is clean. But not perfect 10. Better than my detergent and bleach? Impossible. Challenge? Try Apex compared to bleach and detergent. Apex sticker formulation removes yellow stains times better, giving you a sparkling clean toilet. Wow. Now you also take that? Perfect 10x challenge.
Also available in 200 ml pack.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC impacts upon everything we do, including water we drink, the food we eat. They are important organs to the development of this country. And everybody should come out and join them and support them and help them to achieve the greatest benefits and success that they need to the country.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Time now for Global Tidbits. Let's join Gabriel Odu.
The centrist president